So fair warning here, I don't know how these videos are going to happen, but it's more efficient for me to just kind of like talk and do some kind of like stream of consciousness and ramble about things than to try to sit down, write an outline and try to make content. Besides, I'm sure that there's some kind of AI tool that could just summarize any kind of the video's contents if that's what you're really looking for. But yeah, these are just gonna be more efficient for me to just kind of like talk through topics. I'll try to stick to a topic, but of course, I don't know what's gonna happen. So you have been warned, this is what you signed up for, or you didn't sign up for this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could stop watching at any time. So that's, that's just the deal that we're making. So let's get into it. One of the questions that I got, I was presenting, or I posted like a calendar, like a fully booked calendar for the properties that I manage. And one of the comments that I made was, thank you, AI, right? And somebody asked, was like, how? Oh, how did how did AI help you get, a fully booked calendar? Like, please explain, right? And the more I thought about it, it was kind of like hard to put into words, because AI didn't directly help me or directly get the calendar booked. It was kind of like an indirect way that it helped me. Basically, one way to like try to explain it is if you looked at kind of where my time was being spent before AI, you would see like, let's pretend that there's a big like meter or whatever. I have to look there, by the way. And it's 100%. And before AI, I would say that you would see 90% of that field and that was me working, in the business, right? Doing tasks, doing things like managing stuff. And then 10% was on the business. And then, after AI, that kind of shifted. It would be, again, this is just me ballparking. It actually would probably be almost like a complete shift, where now it's like 10% is in the business and 90% is on the business. And I looked at my email. I mean, I have the email that says like when I signed up for Claude, and it was April 6th. It's July 3rd right now. So almost 3 months ago is when I first started introducing AI to just my management style and like processes. And I'm already an engineer, so things were kind of like streamlined already. But if you would have asked me a year ago if I could see myself managing, 4 STRs and 1 MTR, I would have said, hell no way. I'm already managing 2 STRs. And I could barely do that. And like I said, I'm an engineer. I already got some like streamlined automated processes that are helping me do this. There's no way I could ever see myself, self-managing 4 STRs and 1 MTR, right? So that's what I would have said if you would ask me that a year ago. Now, 3 months ago, when I was, managing 4 STRs and 1 MTR, if you would have asked me, hey, how's that going? Well, I would have said jack nothing, because I'm too freaking busy managing 4 STRs and 1 MTR. And again, I have streamlined processes. So that entire situation of where I was 3 months ago was just doing all of that work. And if anybody, has self-managed their own STR, they know what it involves. It's all these little things, right, that kind of like stack up for managing an STR. Is the guest checking in, getting instructions, they have questions, and then while they're there, they might have questions, and then you're trying to sell them stuff, and then possibly, And then you got, they leave, and then, you got your cleaner coming in, they got to do that. And then the inventory, you got to restock supplies. And then you're also chasing the review, right? And then you got to give them a review, right? Then you got to pay your cleaner. Again, so like managing an STR is like, it's like herding kittens, right? And I started managing 2 STRs at the same time, not because I wanted to. This was for, the STR tax loophole advantage that I needed to do in order to not pay a bunch of taxes for some other reason. But yeah, so like, I already knew with 2 STRs, it's like herding kittens, right? You're trying to put them in places, but the second you put them down, they're off, right? And then kind of like with automated systems that I already have in place, that's kind of like well-trained kittens. Yeah, I'm gonna run with the kitten thing. So it's kind of like well-trained kittens, but like but they still need you, right? Like they're trained kittens, yes, and they're doing their thing, but they come back to you every now and then because they are hungry or they want to play. Anyways, yes. So with kind of like efficient pipelines, that's kind of what, managing an STR is. It's like they're doing their thing, these kittens, but you still kind of have to direct them and like manage them, right? They're just, you don't have to put them anywhere. Yeah, there you go. You don't have to herd them anymore. Because when you put them in their place, they know what to do because they're trained kittens. Maybe they should be cats. Anyways, so what AI has done is to kind of like explain how it's helped me get the bookings is now I'm not the one kind of like feeding the cats anymore. That's the key. That's the ticket that I'm getting to, and I knew that all along, was that now AI is the one kind of feeding the kittens, right? I'm not even dealing with kittens anymore. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, not doing any of that. And every now and then, AI will be like, hey, there's an issue with this kitten. It's getting kind of fat, right? And I'm like, okay, let me take a look. And that's kind of what AI is doing, is it's doing all the stuff that I was doing. And it's letting me know about issues every now and then. And I can kind of choose whether or not I want to put this kitten on a diet. But I don't need to. That's the whole goal, is that what AI is doing is it's basically allowing me not to spend time with the kittens at all. And I'm able to now focus my time, on the bookings. To give like an example of stuff that's kind of like automatically happening is just this week, I kind of woke up and I had these alerts, these notifications that a guest wanted to extend their stay one morning, and then like another morning, like a guest wanted to increase their guest count, right? And normally when I would wake up, I'd be like, oh crap, like depending on when the guest did this, it could have been last night, after I went to bed, and I'd be like, oh, I better respond immediately because this is money for me, right? An increased guest count, that's extra charges. Extended booking, that's more money, right? And depending on when I respond, I could miss that opportunity. Sometimes the guest changes their mind and they'll just kind of like, they'll be like, no, I didn't want that. But when I woke up this week, I was like, oh, let me get on that, right? And then I went in and looked, and I was like, oh crap, yeah, it's already taken care of. It was already accepted, and like some messages were queued up. And I was like, oh man, I totally forgot I implemented that. I don't even remember when I implemented that, but I must have implemented that for AI to take over like a while ago. And I was like, oh, thank you, right? Like, good job. And that's kind of like an example of what I'm getting at, is that it's taking all those things off of my plate. So now I could dedicate my time to actually chasing the leads and getting bookings and putting the bookings in the right areas. An example would be, normally I wouldn't have the time to spend on this, but a couple of my bookings, these guests were trying to book at a property that didn't quite fit them, I thought. So I suggested another one of my properties, because all of my properties are kind of local, and they actually liked that property better. So they booked with that one, which freed up this other one. And then within the time, like a little bit after that, another kind of like guest asked about that property, and it was a good fit for them. So that property got booked, and it was exactly like the space and requirements that that person needed, right? Like that booker needed. And that's kind of like what's happening right now is like everything's kind of clicking in the sense that AI is taking so much off my plate and giving me that time back to now focus on the things that I never focused on before, right? Like actively chasing the leads that would make the booking and the calendar kind of like full, right? Spending that time, like I would say coordinating more with like guests and figuring out like what those pain points are. And that is kind of what led to a fully booked calendar for all of my properties, all at the same time, which again was like a huge milestone because I've never seen that before. And so did AI help me get like a full calendar? Yes, but it wasn't directly that it did so. It was more because it took a whole bunch of things off of my plate, gave me my time back to then focus on the things that I know would eventually lead to that. You know, the areas that did require, I guess, like some human involvement or aspect, right? And that is how AI helped me do that.